Welcome to the Basic Legal Research episode on regulations. This episode has 3 specific goals. First, you'll learn what regulations are. Second, you'll learn where regulations are found and how they're organized. And third, you'll learn how to locate specific regulations. Regulations are rules that are passed by federal or state agencies which have the force of law. Legislatures delegate authority to agencies to create and pass regulations. These regulations have the same authority as statutes and are considered a primary source of law. When a law is passed by Congress, if it requires very detailed rules to implement, Congress will delegate its authority to a federal agency that has expertise in the area. For example, the Clean Air Amendments Act passed by Congress in 1990 generally sets limits on how many air pollutants can be in the air. As part of the act, Congress delegated authority to the Environmental Protection Agency to create specific regulations outlining in detail exactly how many air pollutants can be released into the air from sources like chemical plants, utilities, and steel mills. Regulations are published in a similar manner to statutes. First, federal regulations are published chronologically in the Federal Register, and then enacted regulations are arranged by agency and published in the Code of Federal Regulations, also known as the CFR. State regulations are published in a similar manner. In Utah, regulations are published in the Utah State Bulletin and then published topically by agency in the Utah Administrative Code. Besides containing final regulations to be published in the CFR, the Federal Register also contains items that are not published anywhere else, such as proposed rules, agency policy statements, and a discussion of comments submitted on proposed rules. Like statutory codes, regulatory codes are usually organized by title, chapter, part, and section. The CFR has 50 titles, with each title corresponding to a particular subject. So, for example, Title 26 of the CFR contains all of the regulations pertaining to taxation, and Title 40 contains regulations passed by the EPA which pertain to protection of the environment. Titles in the CFR are then further broken down by chapter, part, and section. While some titles in the United States Code correspond by topic to the titles in the CFR, there's not always a direct correlation. So, for example, Title 26 of the U.S. Code and Title 26 of the CFR contain laws and regulations on taxation. However, Title 10 isn't the same. Title 10 of the U.S. Code contains laws about the armed forces, but Title 10 of the CFR contains regulations on energy. All executive orders and proclamations are published in Title 3 of the CFR. Because of the large number of regulations that are created or updated each year, the Code of Federal Regulations and the Utah Administrative Code are published each year in multi-volume, soft-bound books instead of bound volumes with pocket parts. Regulations can be found in a number of online subscription databases such as Westlaw, Lexis, Bloomberg Law, and can also be found on government websites. The Code of Federal Regulations and Federal Register are on the Government Printing Office's fdsys.gov website, and you can browse regulations by topic or run keyword searches to find pertinent regulations. When you're searching federal regulations on fdsys.gov, make sure you use the eCFR, which is slightly different than the regular CFR database because the eCFR is the most current and updated version of the Code of Federal Regulations. The link to the eCFR can be found by the regular CFR database. If you have a need to search regulations from past years, regulations from approximately the last 20 years are also available to search on the fdsys.gov website and other online databases. State regulations are located in print and on state websites. The Utah Administrative Code can be found on the Utah Department of Administrative Services website. As with the CFR, state regulations are organized by agency, and specific regulations can be found by browsing the table of contents or performing keyword searches. If researching using the print CFR or state administrative code, use the index located at the end of the set of regulations to find a regulation on a specific topic.